in the long run, when you exercise patience and you exercise just not wanting to see returns immediately now, and you're not after instant gratification, and you stay in the market for the long term, for your 5 years, you stay in the market for your 10 years, after a while you can actually see what we mean when we talk about the power of compounding. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for all of you who are returning subscribers and who have already joined the family. For anyone who is seeing my face for the first time, my name is Yanga, and on my channel I like to focus a lot on personal development as well as value-adding lifestyle content. In this video we're going to be leaning again towards the personal finances side of things, but before we actually get into the contents of this video, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a warning. There might be a lot of distracting sounds coming through from the environment. I actually don't know what's going on, but there are kids, couples, families, and all sorts of things. So those sounds might be a bit distracting, but please bear with me. Anyway, so this video was really inspired by the previous video which I made where I was talking about my financial goals for 2021. And one of the goals that I actually had in that video was to continue investing in shares / stock market on a monthly basis. And then I thought to myself that it would make a lot of sense to sort of make this video and chat about all the incentives or all the main reasons that should incentivize you to also invest in shares if you have not already. Of course, there's a lot of other things that you can invest in, but I am a big proponent of investing in shares. And in this video, I'm going to be chatting about those reasons and why I would encourage you to also do the same. So let's get into it. Number one on my list, we're talking about the value of money. When I was growing up and I was still like in high school, some many years ago, a McFlurry cost around 18 Rand. And if you try and buy a McFlurry today, you're going to be paying 38 Rand. And that goes to show how the cost of things back then, some 10 years ago, is definitely not the cost of what things are today. You take that and you just apply it anyway. That's transport, that's bread, that's umilimili, that is just in anything that you can think of. So basically then you're talking about inflation, which is the gradual increase in prices over time. So you take inflation and then you compare that against money. In other words, if you decided that you were going to save money, but put that money under your mattress or put it in a very low interest type of savings account so that your money can be safe, effectively what is going to be happening to your money is you are going to be losing value. In other words, you are not increasing the value of your money, and inflation is just going to eat away at your money, because the more that you put away and your money is actually not earning like reasonable amounts of returns, then essentially that means that the value of your money is being lost over time and you are losing more than you are winning. While it's good to put your money in safe vehicles, like putting it in the bank or putting it in more safer type of investments like your bonds, it's very encouraging to know that if you put your money elsewhere, like in shares, you have much better chances. Obviously, there's no certainty with this, because with shares, by virtue of investing in the stock market, there is going to be a higher degree of risk. So there is no certainty. But over a longer period of time, when you talk 5 years, when you talk 10 years, your money has a better chance of increasing in value if you invest in shares, as opposed to if you just decided, well, you're going to keep it in a much more safer vehicle, like just putting it in a bank where you're getting like 2%. If you know what I'm saying. So that's point number one. And then point number two, I want to really speak about the power of compounding. Now, for example, I think it was Einstein, he said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And there's no statement that I think I could agree with more in respect to this specific topic. So when you talk about compounding, you're basically talking about earning returns on the actual returns that you've made on your initial investment. So it's returns on returns on returns, if that makes sense. If I invested 100 Rand and at the end of the year, I earned interest of, say, for example, 10%. So at the end of the year, I ultimately have 110 Rand. What compound interest then does, it says that the next time you invest, I'm going to be earning interest not on my initial investment of 100 Rand, but I'm going to actually be earning a return on the 110 Rand. Now, in the short term, this is not a big deal. I mean, it's not a big deal because it's just like I'm earning interest on 110 Rand. Again, this is just like a number to illustrate the point that I want to get across. But in the long term, in the long run, when you exercise patience and you exercise just not wanting to see returns immediately now, and you're not after instant gratification, and you stay in the market for the long term, for your 5 years, you stay in the market for your 10 years, after a while you can actually see what we mean when we talk about the power of compounding, when that money grows on that actual growth that it's been accumulating over the years. So that is definitely incentive number 2. And then when we talk about number 3, I think this one should have probably been right at the beginning, but number 3 is basically the fact that investing in shares or investing in the stock market is so easy, easier than it's ever been, by virtue of the fact that if you have a smartphone, which is the majority of us, then you can download an app, be it Easy Equities or any other investment platform, and that can be your entryway into actually investing in shares. It's not as difficult as it used to be, and also you don't need extensive amounts of money to actually get started in investing in shares. If you have 100 Rand, you have more than enough. If that's all that you can invest on a month-to-month basis, it's a start. And I think people just focus so much on all the other reasons as to why you shouldn't get started on investing. But the fact of the matter is you don't even need to speak to, a person physically. And just a disclaimer here, I'm not saying that let's download apps and let's go and invest without any knowledge. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that shares and the stock market is so much more accessible now. It's accessible to me, it's accessible to you. You don't have to be a sophisticated investor, or you don't have to be someone with large amounts of money to be able to get started in investing in shares. Literally anyone can do it. Any person can actually get started in investing in shares, because it's never been easier to do so than it is right now. So that's number 3. And then the next reason is wealth creation as well as passive income. So I've basically decided to put these in one point. For me personally, it does depend on your investment strategy when we are talking about passive income, but if that is what you want to go for, then it's a great vehicle to actually look into, because when you receive dividends, it's really just great to be able to be living off. Ultimately, that is what we want to get to, when you're able to actually receive dividends, or when you're actually able to receive passive income from your investments. That is the ultimate goal. And again, wealth creation just really ties into the other points that I made when we spoke about the value of imali. Like, money in the stock market over time increases in value, and anytime you're talking about value increasing, you're talking about wealth being created. So that is definitely another point that is absolutely important to take into consideration in terms of investing in the market. And then the next point is essentially being someone who invests in shares. It makes you a part owner of a company. Now, I can't think of someone who does not want to be a part owner of a company. Whether you have 1 share, whether you have 2 shares, whether you have 200 shares, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you are legally a part owner in this company. And that in itself is just a really, it's a good feeling. I mean, it motivates you to learn more about the companies that you have invested in, or in the industries that you have invested in. And it really just makes you feel like you're doing something right? So that is the one point. And then the final point that I have, which basically sums all of these points up, is investing in shares really teaches you discipline, and it inspires you to learn. And I think a lot of the intimidation that comes with investing in shares is because individuals aren't really exposed to investing in shares, whether you are working in a different industry. You might be a doctor. A friend of mine just graduated from med school actually, and we were having this conversation around personal finances and all of that, because at least I have some experience. It becomes much more intimidating when you don't know what we are speaking about when we speak about equity, or when we speak about fundamentals, or when we speak about all of these crazy terms that people often throw around, and that can throw you off from actually just taking that first step and doing what you need to do. So I really just wanted to say that one of the incentives of investing in shares is that it broadens your horizons and it inspires you to learn more, because now you're more inclined to pick up a book, to pick up The Intelligent Investor, to pick up Rich Dad, Poor Dad, to pick up whatever personal finance book that you want to pick up, to be able to sort of learn more in as far as educating yourself when it comes to investing in shares and any other investment vehicle, really. So the other point of investing, or rather the specific point, is really the discipline that it teaches you, especially if you are someone who is like me and prefers to invest on a monthly or a recurring basis. Then it teaches you to actually, at the end of this month, I know that this is a priority and I need to be setting these funds aside, as opposed to just going with the flow and prolonging the actual starting, because time is a real factor when it comes to investing. It's a real factor, and fortunately we've touched on that. We've talked about the value of money. We've talked about the power of compounding. So if you want to exploit all of those benefits, if you want to exploit the power of compounding, the sooner you start, the better. So that basically concludes all the points that I have basically compiled, which are then things that one should really think about in terms of starting their investing journey. There are more reasons to invest than there are to not invest, and I do know that fear does play a really big role, but that is where educating yourself and reading up on the specific vehicles that are out there, that's where all of that comes in. So I really do hope that this video has really encouraged you to look into starting investing in shares in 2021. The sooner the better. And if you could also tell me what is the one reason why you have not started investing in shares, I think that would be really interesting to just engage with in the comment section. I know with a lot of people it's fear. I'm afraid that I'm going to lose all my money. I'm afraid that I'll wake up and my shares have lost 80% in value, and these things happen. But that is where just mitigating that risk through knowing what you are doing comes in, if you decide to go the route of doing it yourself, because there obviously are other routes that are in place. But I do hope again that this video has added value and that you have derived something from it. Again, please excuse all the surround sounds that are coming through in this video. There's a lot going on outside, but I will catch you guys in my next video. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I appreciate it so much. Mwah.